Hello friends, welcome to Core Basics Coding tutorial. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how to share data between two processes using multiprocessing queue in Python. Now, before we go into details about queue, let's first understand what kind of problem it tries to solve. If you know the fundamentals of multiprocessing, then you are already aware that multiple processes have their own address space. They don't share the address space. That results into a problem like this. Here in my main program, I am creating another process which just goes through this list of numbers. Here you can see that, and it is calculating the square of those numbers and appending it to this global variable called result. After that, it prints the result inside this function, which is process number 2, and process number 1 is this, which is a parent process. Once I'm done printing it here, I'm going to print the result outside. When I run this program, what happens is inside the process the result looks good, but outside the process the same global variable is blank. Now if you have already watched my tutorial on multiprocessing, then you already know that when result global variable gets copied to this another process address space, it creates its own copy. Hence the result is separate. So whenever you want to communicate between two processes or share data, you need to use one of the techniques shown in this diagram. As you can see in this diagram, process 1, process 2 have their own address spaces, and whenever they want to exchange data, they use either a common file or a shared memory or a message pipe. Queue is basically shared memory. Okay, I'm going to now use queue to store the results of calculate square function. First, let's create a queue variable using multiprocessing queue class. So you will import multiprocessing module first, and then you will say multiprocessing.queue. Now queue will be passed to calculate square function. Here I get queue, and let me remove a result because we are not going to use it. It's anyway not working for us. Queue has a method called put. Now if you have studied data structures, this is the queue data structure, which is first in first out data structure, where you insert data at the end of the queue and you pull the data from the front of the queue. Here I'm just inserting data at the end of the queue. Right, let me remove this, and here after my process is done, I'm going to check while queue.empty. Queue.empty is a method which will tell you if queue is empty or not. Is not false. While queue.empty is not false, print queue.get. What I'm doing here is I'm just iterating through queue, and I'm getting elements one by one from the front of the queue and printing them. Let's execute this program. It didn't print anything. Looks like I have an error. Oh, I see. This should not be is not false, is false. Because as long as queue.empty is false, you want to iterate and you want to print the result. Excellent. I get my result. So I have 2, 3, 5, and their square numbers are 4, 9, 25. Okay, so this is working. As you can see here, queue is used to share the data between two processes. Process number 1 is your parent process. Process number 2 is your child process, which is essentially your calculate square function. Queue is extremely useful whenever it comes to multiprocessing in Python or any other programming language. One thing you need to keep in mind in Python is that Python has a module called queue, and queue module is different than multiprocessing queue. So here I have the difference between the two. Multiprocessing queue, in order to use that, you will say multiprocessing.queue, versus for the queue module you will import queue module and then you will say queue.queue. Other difference is multiprocessing queue is used to share data between processes, whereas queue module is used to share data between the threads. So these are the two key differences. Okay, that was all about queue in Python. I hope you guys are having fun learning multiprocessing in Python or Python in general. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to comment down below, and also share or subscribe if you like the content. Thank you.